Hello and welcome. We're having a little tech issue. Zander is fixing it for me right behind me. Say hi, Zander. I know you hate to be on camera, but welcome to Animal World Live on Friday night with me, Brent Leo-Smith. We're very excited to have a dear friend of ours, Adam Bannister, who's in one of the most epic wildlife areas in Africa, the Maasai Mara, chatting to us about all things Mara and what's been going on over the last few months. Lion's chasing a dog. Hello and welcome. Let's say some quick hellos. Linda, Dov, Noel, Bonnie, Boo in Arizona, Bush Baby 2447, Vicky, Lara Moore, Kevin, Barbara, different Barbara of course, Dov, David, Rosalind, Yvonne, Ian, Rolene, Pterodactyl, Octogirly, Pisces, Bobby, Liz, Neela and Simon, Barbara Russell, Cat 3, TJS, Widget. Hello, welcome. I'm sure there's a few more people I'm forgetting. Boo, I love everything Mara, so do we, and we're very excited to catch up with Adam about the Mara. Anemus, you did not miss any mask info at all. We'll be chatting about that a little bit later. Hello little Miss Maya, Wheelie Girl, Angie, Redstone Prime, nice to see you all here, so wonderful to have you here on this Friday night. And as you can see, the Lowveld is being kind to me. I'm back in my normal attire. Shorts that most people think are a little bit too short, flip-flops, and a t-shirt. So it's a lovely warm evening here in the Lowveld, and very, very great. Hello Jackie in London, hello Judy, hello Tandon, Dev. So really, really great to have you all here. Now, of course, before we delve into all what that is Mara with Adam, we're going to catch up with what's been happening around the Lowveld. And of course, let's go have a look at what is being on the live bush cams. I can hear a visitor behind us somewhere. What is it? Could it be a porcupine? Could it be the civet? Could it be a kudu? Kudus were around earlier. I can hear something big walking. Hopefully it comes back. And of course, always keep our lead lenses close. Now how cool was that? That was a time lapse of a day at the six-sided waterhole, and just the morning, Zander's telling me. So that was just the morning, and that's what's the amazing thing about the dry season. You see the congregations of animals that are coming down, as there's very little water anywhere else. So very, very cool to see that. Now, of course, as most of you know by now, I don't know what the live camera highlights are going to be, and I'm going to watch them for the first time with you. So let's have a look what's cracking on the live bush cams.
That monitor is delayed.
Okay, so sorry, I don't even know what's happening. We're having a bit of a tech thing. The monitor is delayed, so I don't know what we're seeing. Only you do. But oh, there we go. It's up now. It's the rhinos. Isn't that wonderful? And it looks like one of the big bulls. It is one of the big bulls. I think it's number 12 or number 24. You can't see his ear notches too clearly. And yeah, so always great to catch up with the rhinos and know that they are nice and safe. And now I can see myself staring at the obviously I was watching after you guys were, so you saw the rhino before I did. Isn't that wonderful? Zander's going to try fix that up. So that's one of the big bulls in the Rhinos Reserve, and it's always great to be able to catch up with them. And obviously there's a lot of hard work going on behind the scenes to ensure that those animals are safe. Yeah, someone was looking for the music. Ian Timothy, pterodactyls, spot on. Indeed, the credits will be at the end, and it is awesome. Noel, what a terrible name. I think that's his number on the reserve. So from an ID point of view, most of the rhinos, well, actually all the rhinos have numbers rather than names. So yes, Cheryl, I was a bit behind. Yes, so unfortunately I was. Zander is trying to work magic. Magic, Zander.
I'm trying to channel my inner demon.
Okay, that's not working. I don't think my finger clicking is helping Zander at all. But it is very cool to see that. Now, so well, there we go. Let's have a look. How fast are we? There we go. That looks fast enough. Oh no, that's my clicking. That's a long time ago. Okay. Well, anyway, while Zander's trying to figure that out, let's go to the next clip. You guys can tell me what it's about. Let's see if I can guess. Put up a little one-word description. Let me see if I can guess what it is. So again, we're at the water holes, which is going to be quite common at this time of the year. Seeing lots of action around those water holes. And VM has now given away the game. He's told me that it's warthogs and Impala at the water hole. And someone's chasing someone. Betty, indeed, the rhinos do start to grow back some of their horn after it has been cut, and that's why you have to keep dehorning every couple of years, and those guys are getting quite close to dehorning again. Oh, there we go. There's a Nyala. The Nyala and warthog at the waterhole, the same waterhole that was so busy. Oh, here we go. Here come the rest of the pigs charging in. We're going to see shortly how far away we are. Look at that! Isn't that a lovely big sounder of warthog? I was trying to count there. And there's back on me and an Inyala. So I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to keep an eye on to see what happens. So I'm guessing the warthogs. Oh, the warthog chased the Inyala away. There we go. Isn't that funny? That is quite cool. So to see all of that. So many of the piggies. And the babies have done quite well. Those moms have done very well to try get that many to age. That out of your way, there's under. Okay. Zander says there are 7 or 8 of them. Oh wow. Okay, there we go. Let me see it. There we go. That's quick. I can see now, Zander. It says make sure it's on low quality mode. Sorry about this, folks. Everything was ready and then something happened. There we go. Shine with the Zander. Let's put the camera on Zander before he runs away. Run away, Zander, run away! There we go. I love putting people who don't like being on camera. It is so much fun. Okay, so now we're back in sync and I can see exactly what's going on at the same time as you can. So do we have any more clips, Vim, that I shall now narrate correctly? Oh, I think this is a shortened clip of that wonderful morning of all the baboons and giraffe at the six-sided waterhole. It is amazing how many animals can go to one tiny little place. Mac Rambo, I will get to the reason there's a hyena behind me with the collar shortly. But look at that, isn't that amazing? A bird's eye view of a giraffe. Oh no, not again. Or at least this time it didn't chew it. Normally the baboons are quite a problem with our cameras. We've had to reinforce everything because they do love to try put the whole camera in their mouth. But this time it looks like it was just plain jungle gym. Isn't that wonderful? The skies are incredibly blue at the moment. That is very cool. Oh, JS, I'm glad to see you've ordered your crew shirt. Dov, that'll be coming a little bit later, the video of the Janet in the house. We haven't got around to editing that one just yet.
It is edited.
It is edited. It's not ready though.
Yeah, I'll try and work out all the sleepiness we had.
Yes, Zander says he's going to try edit out our sleepiness. It was very early in the morning. So yes, so very, very cool. We will pop up the Janet in the wine rack video at some point quite shortly. Okay, what do we got next, Vimpy? Ah, what's that? Looks like Impala. Look quite alert. It is 10 to 4 in the morning. What's coming? Am I going to see? Vim says he hasn't watched this one out. Only Zander knows what happens next. Okay, so we got Impala at 10 to 4 in the morning drinking, but looking quite nervous. Approaching very, very cautiously. Zander, what happened next? Nothing. It was just Impala drinking cautiously at 10 to 4 in the morning. I was expecting a cheetah to come bolting out at high speed or something. Noel, yes, perhaps I need to fill up my wine rack to keep the Janets out. Now, there was... Oh, Mac Rambo wanted to know why I have a hyena with a collar behind me. Mac Rambo, that's Howard. Howard is my pet hyena. He was used on a shoot I worked on many years ago. Geez, probably over 10 years ago now, or around 10 years ago now, when we're doing cognition studies on lions and hyenas. So he sort of traveled around. He's done his time around South Africa, and then the collar was given to me, and I just thought it would be quite good for Howard. It was definitely way too big for Chloa. Okay, exciting stuff. Okay, now of course it wouldn't be an Animal World Live without a catch-up with the Lapalala wild dogs from those live camps. So let's go see what those guys have been up to. Okay, add nearly there for you. Wasn't that absolutely amazing? And it is incredible to watch those painted dogs. It makes my heart warm every single time I see those puppies. And the interactions between them and the adults is just fascinating. And we actually have the wild dog den cam up live all the time on a big screen in the office. So it's so wonderful to just hear the sounds they make and how the adults regurgitate. And I mean, a little known fact for you guys here, I suppose you might not have known that wild dog puppies will eat. There we go, that's live right now. I can see a sleeping wild dog to the left. Was that the pile of puppies to the left? A bit difficult to see. But a wild dog puppy will eat meat at as young as 10 days old. So very, very important for them to get their Impala. Darcy and indeed the adults are incredibly patient with the puppies. And it is one of the only animals where, in terms of social hierarchy, the adults are sort of below the puppies, which is quite interesting. The only other animal really like that is human beings, if we look at our social structure. But yes, okay, guess what? Guess what time it is? It's that very exciting time, because we've got a very special guest who's about 2,000 odd kilometers away from us, sitting on top of the Olololo escarpment. It's Adam Bannister. Hello, Ad.
Good to see you. It's been a while.
It has been a while. Yes, sure. It's been a very, very long time. Yeah, there's a bit more grey in your beard than the last time I saw you.
Yeah, a little bit on the side, yeah. Just for
on the side, becoming a bit of a silver fox, trying to catch up with Tristan.
Indeed. How are things going?
Very, very good. Now, for those of you who might not know who Adam is, I've actually known Adam, over 10 years now, probably.
Yeah. I think so. I met Brent when on my first day of working at Londolozi. I moved into your old room.
Did you? The Heartbreak Hotel.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yes. And you'll see, guys, there's some pictures of Adam. Adam has now been involved in the bush for a very long time. You can see there's a very little Adam holding a python now. Your passion, tell us a bit how you ended up in the bush, what drew you to the bush.
Yeah, so I actually have quite an unusual beginning. I first went to the bush when I was 5. I was cast into a television series called Bush School, and actually it was my brother that was cast into it. I kind of forced my way onto it, and it was a reality TV series back in the early 1990 years, and it was basically, could you take 6 kids aged between 5 and 10 years old, and could you educate them in the Kruger National Park in the Sabi Sands area? Everything was filmed live. It was then broadcast to, I think, 72 countries at the time, but it was way before its age back in 1990. But I did 3 years of that, and that's how I got my passion for the wildlife, for the bush.
That is absolutely incredible, and of course, that has taken you on a long journey over multiple countries in the bush.
Yes.
And all the way to the Maasai Mara eventually.
Yeah, so that, my journey with wildlife has been my entire life, because when I was 8, I was then taken out of bush school and I was taken back to a city school in Johannesburg. From there, I then did traditional normal school until age 18, when I then decided that I was going to move to Ecuador. And in Ecuador, I did a volunteer stint trying to clear tracks through the Amazon rainforest. Trying to work with a team that were doing research on bird life in that area. And then after that, I realized that I needed a bit more solid grounding, a bit more research, a bit more science behind me. So I went down to Stellenbosch University in the Cape, and I did 4 years conservation ecology. And it was at this time that I started to realize that I was really struggling with how science was being communicated. It was through journals, it was through academia, it was people who were reading those papers that already knew what I was writing. And so that's when I started to get into the guiding world, where I could take the science and I could communicate it in a way that made it a bit more interesting, and almost put on an act, put on some theater, and hopefully change people's lives. And that's when I then shifted across to Londolozi.
And we briefly, my way out, I think I was on my way to Tanzania then.
Yeah, we had a short stint, a short overlap, but yeah. So I did 4 years, maybe almost 5 years guiding there, and then I got itchy feet to try and get into something very different. So I moved across to South America, to Brazil, where I worked with jaguars, and that was converting a cattle ranch into a jaguar conservancy. And then from there, I shot across to India to work with leopards, opening up an area called Jawai, where there's very, very unusual population of kind of rock-dwelling leopards. They form big groups. The record I got once was, I think, 13. It was not uncommon to get between 5 and 7 leopards in a group. And then from there, moved across to Rwanda parks to help them repopulate Akagira, the national park. And then I decided I was becoming a little bit too feral, and so I moved to London. Moved to London, and just so I could have some cappuccino and go to the pub. And that lasted a little bit of time before I got my crave for the wilderness again, where I then moved to Peru and I worked in the Amazon. After the Amazon, I decided I had to go back to Africa, and so I returned to Kenya, where I now am at Ngama, a beautiful lodge in the Maasai Mara, and I've been here for 2.5 years now.
That's incredible, Ad. Yeah, we're going to have to invite you back for another show, and you can tell us a bit more about your travels, because we are going to chat about the Mara specifically tonight. And at the moment, there's some incredible photos by Adam that are flashing through that you'll see. And Adam is an incredibly talented photographer. And you helped and started with Ngama and whatnot, the greatest Mara photo competition.
Yeah, so the greatest Maasai Mara photographer of the year, we started in the beginning of 2018. Some of you may be familiar with it, but essentially we wanted to create a platform whereby people could give back. Because what we found was that photographers across the world, they come to these areas, they take their photographs, they go home, they print them and put them on their walls, and that's where it ends. And we wanted to create a way that those photographers could give back to the landscape in which they actually took that photograph. And so when you enter this competition, you're paying a $20 entry fee, which is essentially a donation to get your entry. $20 goes to one of 6 organizations in the Mara that we work with. So your $20 gets you your entry. Incredible competition to unite the photographic community of the Maasai Mara. Many of you who've been to the Maasai Mara will be very familiar with the characters that are here, the lion, Scar, and various so on and so forth. And this is a way to showcase the photographers, to showcase the characters, and to raise money at the same time for the guys on the ground.
That's absolutely incredible. Now, I'm pretty sure that the guys will be popping out. Guys, so if you don't know, go have a look at the Greatest Mara website. And in terms of the Mara is under quite a bit of stress at the moment. We'll get into that a bit later because of no tourists, no income. So you guys with Greatest Mara have started quite an interesting project with that photo competition. Yeah.
So what we did last year, the first 2 years that it ran, was we choose a monthly winner, and we run for 10 months a year. And actually, the photograph behind me, I hope you can see it there in the lights. That's the 2018 winner, taken by Anup Shah, a very well-known photographer from Kenya, an Indian Kenyan. We then had the 2019 edition. And what we started to do was take the top 50 images of the year and take them on a global roadshow. So we printed them out large. We took them to London, New York, Johannesburg, Cape Town, Dubai. We took them and we auctioned off prints. And the photographer would get half, and then the organization they entered under would get half. But this year, because of the dreaded C word, Corona, we are anticipating that there'll be no happening live in terms of at events. So what we did is we took it online. We've got a portal where you can bid online for one of these photographs. And again, the photographer and the organization he entered under will get 50%, which is a really, really cool way to make some money for doing good work.
So just remember, guys, go check out greatestmara.com, I think it is, if I remember correctly.
Greatestmassaimara.com, yeah.
Greatestmassaimara.com. That's where you can find that. And of course, There's some incredible people involved. There's the Ngama Foundation, and
so Mara Elephant Project.
Project.
And Ken Taylor, there's the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust, there's the Mara Trust, and then there's the actual Mara Conservancy, the Mara Triangle. And so that's where you enter. You decide which of those 6 should receive your $20. So entry fee goes in there, and the prizes are incredible. The winner walks away with $10,000 in cash and 5 nights at Ngama. But the real neat part of this competition is we wanted to reward the photographer's guide. Because often the guide's the guy who actually puts the car in the right position, finds the animal, interprets the behavior. And so what we did is we've stuck an incredible trip to London to go watch a football match for 3 of these guides. So if you make the top 10, a good chance your guide could go to London when it opens up again and watch Arsenal, Tottenham, something like that, which would be loads of fun for them.
Yeah, Adam is a big football fan. I'm not going to tell the story about you checking the football scores this morning.
Yeah, I'm supporting a very bad team at the moment. We're right second from the bottom if you watch English football.
Fortunately, I can't mock you because I don't even know who that is. But I mean, the Mara this year, forget COVID, it's just been absolutely crazy. The weather, and what's been going on.
Yeah,
I mean, the Mara River nearly dried up, or almost did.
Yeah. Yes. If you look at the last 12 months, we've had a situation where
this time last year,
the Mara River was a foot wide at one stage. I think it was about April last year. 12 months later, it was about 3 meters over its banks. We've had
funny footage of you being wet at the moment.
Yeah. So a lot of the photographs and video I've been taking in the last while has literally been on the roads it looks like I'm driving in a river. But we've had 2 meters of rain since November last year, which is essentially kind of like what you would get in a rainforest.
For those who don't know where that plane is driving, I mean the plane is flying over now. That's the main Lower River Road, main crossings, and now we're just going over to Governors and now in Mara North.
Yeah. So I can't see what you're looking at, but I can assume it's good.
And then obviously them at the end, completely flooded.
Destroyed, yeah. So the difficulty, if we dive straight into the difficulties, obviously the Mara Conservancy, which is the Mara Triangle part, so the western part of the Maasai Mara ecosystem, has had a difficulty because it relies completely on the tourism money, so the entry fees. And when you come as an international traveler, your entry fee is $80, of which the actual reserve is receiving 45%. The remaining 55% goes towards the community. Many years ago, kind of gave that land to wildlife, the Maasai. And so with that 45%, they have to do whatever they can, which is the infrastructure, building roads, bridges. And then there's, of course, the anti-poaching patrols, the rangers, the anti-animal harassment, and the research. There's loads that goes on to running one of African parks. And of course, now that is dried up, there hasn't been a tourist here for the last almost 4 months. Those entry fees have gone. And so the Triangle's been really struggling with that to try and deal with lack of income plus this monumental rain that's been falling over the last few months.
It is an incredibly tough time. And those out there, if you can, just have a look. I think it's under the Mara Conservancy website. There's lots of information there about how you can possibly help, and every little bit helps. So if anyone does feel the need, please go have a look at that. I'm sure it'll be much appreciated. Now, I know this sounds sort of terrible, but it's sort of a plus side.
I mean, you've
had the Maasai Mara to yourself. Literally, you're the only person in the Maasai Mara.
Yeah, I don't like to talk about that because it makes a lot of people very jealous. It's the dream. It really is the dream. The last time I had a car in a sighting, I had to share a sighting, was on the 19th of March. I have literally not had to share a sighting with any other car. I don't see any other cars. Sometimes we see rangers. I help them a lot. So if I see anything that looks a little bit iffy, I send them notes. We're in contact every single day with the rangers. But yeah, there's no one around. The negative is, of course, that I'm the only car driving around this huge area, so finding animals is very difficult. But of course, when you find those animals, you've got the whole day with them if you want. You can park where you want. You can do what you want. And so it's been an incredibly rejuvenating experience for me to see the Maasai Mara without humans and to allow this park to if I look at all the Maasai Mara's got these areas known as picnic trees, just places where people would have their breakfasts or their lunches. And normally those picnic trees are bare and they're just kind of soil. If you had to look at them now, the grass is as tall as my head, and cars haven't stopped there in ages. And so it's been fun for me to watch this whole transition from when there was this exodus of people leaving the Mara as the camps were closing, people were leaving. Then the rains hit, the crazy, crazy rains. And then slowly but surely it's been drying out. Of course, once it's dry, the Mara ecosystem really starts to burn. And so in the last 2 weeks, we've been seeing a lot of fires, and grass is burnt and short. Obviously, some areas it's still very tall. But to have been here for the whole transition and to have been going out 5 or 6 days every single week for 16 weeks or whatever it's been now, incredible.
I do love the fire season, and you can see from Adam's photographs that it is absolutely gorgeous from a photography point of view to get that smoke in the lone tree. And I mean, I remember I took some. I love the fire. I also, I think from growing up, I just like fire.
Yeah, it's quite a fun time. There's a lot of energy. When I see a fire, I tend to drive towards it to get. I want to photograph those birds. Those birds that are going for the rodents or the locusts in there. There's storks. There's kestrels. There's lots going on. And then, of course, when the fire's gone through, you've got this charred kind of moonscape, like it's pretty barren. And then, of course, a little bit of rain, and that area just shoots up with greenery, and then the animals go for it. And so it really takes about 3 weeks for that process to happen. And the good thing is the Mara Conservancy is very, very well run. They time their burns. A lot of these burns, just so you know, a lot of these burns are intentional. They're lit in blocks in big areas to basically reduce the fuel load. So what happens is that this grass gets so long that nothing can really live in it. The animals are terrified of this long, long grass. And so they move out. So you have these big vacuums of area. And so in certain areas on a rotational basis every few years, and that promotes nukes in the prey games, which obviously supports the predators.
Yeah, so just a quick one for everyone. Guys, keep your animal questions for the end. I will send them through to Adam, but let's just keep individual animals, prides, etc. questions to the end. So I just remember to resend them again when we get a bit further down the road. Thank you very much. Now, of course, one of the biggest problems with the lack of tourism, even though there is amazing rejuvenation, like you're talking about the picnic trees, is, of course, without tourists and vehicles and everyone around, there's not a lot of people watching for nefarious behavior. And, of course, with the lack of income coming in, the anti-poaching teams are not as big as they were. And obviously, that's probably... So, in my personal thing, if you are going to help with the Mara, I would say please try send some money towards the anti-poaching teams. Yeah. Because at the moment, they're probably half or a third of what they were.
Yeah. Yeah, so that is the real issue, and so of course economy for people is it's terrible. Camps closing is terrible, but the real issue is that the population in the Mara, this will impact them, and so the only option a lot of them have is to go into the park and to start hunting wildlife, and so we are seeing an increase in bushmeat. On a large scale, though, the positive is that this isn't a system that has been heavily impacted on by things like elephant and rhino poaching. But what we are, a fair amount of wildebeest, zebra, and quite a lot of hippo. Hippo obviously has got a lot of meat on it, so you take one hippo and you can feed a lot of people. What's really interesting is that I was involved in a thing where they managed to catch 5 guys short while. and they actually sold the hippo meat. Well, they wanted to sell the hippo meat for $500, and that's a lot of money if you consider different things. So $500 for a hippo, it's a lot of meat. I kind of understand that. I'll never admit to really understanding it, but I mean I just have. But I can understand that. If you see these guys, they're really just trying to make ends meet. But yes, the anti-poaching team. Yeah, the anti-poaching teams here are doing their utmost to protect this landscape while there's no visitors. And I have huge respect for them, for the dog unit. I think the Mara Conservancy dog unit is probably the most unappreciated aspect of this entire reserve. That those guys who've trained those dogs and those dogs who work every single day to sniff out people, to find people, they really make the place a landscape. Of course, the big worry, the big fear is what happens down on the Kenyan-Tanzanian border. And obviously, Brent, you know the landscape well, but there's an area known as the Lamai Wedge. That's the extreme northern part of the Serengeti. And the Kogatende Bridge, so the bridge that connects Lamai with the remainder, that broke. So no cars have been able to cross there. But of course, you would be able to come down the escarpment. And so the Kenyan guys have been working really hard to protect the Tanzanian part of the Lamai Wedge. There's some guys in the south, in the Serengeti, who've been volunteering their time to try and get across there and to try and patrol as much as possible. But that is the weakness, and that's the area that everyone knows. So at least they're being proactive and they're trying to work that out.
Yeah, it is a really tough time for most natural areas with the lack of tourism. Tourism feeds, houses, and through extension, a lot of people. And it is very easy to get sort of aggressive and stuff with the poachers. But again, if that was your only source of income, it was taken away and you have to feed your family, you've got to feed your family. And the one thing I must say from my time up in the Mara is that the Mara Conservancy anti-poaching teams were possibly some of the best in terms of actions and how they interacted with the community, or even the poachers they caught. They seem to not be too aggressive and stuff like that, because I think that can also turn very ugly very quickly. So it's quite a difficult thing to do, and I think the Mara Conservancy under Brian just does such a job with that stuff. Yeah.
And I've been impressed at how far they go into Tanzania. They really go a long way into Tanzania to try and help the Tanzanian anti-poaching guys out as well. And then if they catch someone, and they're good. I've seen them with poachers. I've seen how they treat them. They obviously have to be stern, but they treat them in a very human way. And they're doing what they can.
And that's really important. A lot of people don't realize that if you are too heavy-handed in that, it can turn violent. The poachers can now start bringing in firearms and stuff like that. So it is a fine balance, and they do an incredible job. But of course, we're going to move away from that. It's a little bit sad. Well, you did have with some of the Angama staff, from what I could see. Now you like James Henry, hit a small on the green field, which I cannot understand. But I see you taught some God-off.
Yeah, so basically, I'm based in Ngoma, and we've normally got about 120 staff here, but when this whole thing everyone closed down, we kept about 30 to 40 staff on site to literally look after the camp, so that when the day comes that we open, we're ready. We don't have any time. We could open tomorrow, no problem. But we've obviously got these 30 staff members that we have to keep entertained during the course of the day. And so we started this whole thing where we would do different activities. And the one, how to jump and how to sing like a Maasai and jump like a Maasai. And then the next day, I've got a single golf club, and I was like, well, hang on. They've taught me what they know. I'm going to teach them one of my favorite passions and pastimes, and that was golf. And so we went up to the football field, and it was really very funny.
Sorry, I'm watching.
And it was a perfect example of taking people out of their culture and throwing another culture into one, and just letting it blend and just see what happens. And they were actually really, really good. There were a couple of the Orthodox there, but most of them were quite good. And we only lost one ball at the end of the day, so it was a win.
That looked like so much fun. I recognize that spot well.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a freshie.
Yes.
Back on the second swing, got it. But yeah, and it must be really fascinating to just be there. And I mean, you haven't got out of the Mara for how many months now? 4 months?
Yeah. Yeah, it's exactly. It's just over 4 months now. It's 4 months and 5 days. 4 months and 5 days since I rode.
I wouldn't complain too much about that.
No, that's good. I mean, and I've been throughout the entire Mara ecosystem though, so I've spent a bit of time in the conservancies on the greater reserve side, but obviously I'm largely based on the triangle side. I try to go out 5 times a week. I started off at 6 times a week. I've dropped it because now the camp's opening, so we're spending a bit more time preparing things here in camp, where I run a photographic studio and do a lot of that. And obviously now with guests coming in, that'll drop a little bit, but I'm really excited about what's about to happen, which is obviously the migration. So there's been one small zebra crossing, only 10 animals. There have been.
And you were there.
The first batch of wildebeest, so about 300 are in, but hopefully many, many more, hundreds of thousands of them coming. But it's been quite delayed, and that delay has been caused, I believe, by the heavy rainfall. Obviously, it's a movement of animals that is rain dependent, and so with so much rain, there's so much food, and so therefore there isn't the need for them to get up here as quickly. And I think that we might be in for a September big migration rather than the traditional July, August.
Oh, very interesting. Well, hopefully travel is open and the Mara can start getting some guests in there and some income and start rebuilding. Now, with the migration being late, you got to witness quite an interesting sighting, and I've lucky enough witnessed a similar thing. Now, can you tell me which clan of hyena that was hunting the buffalo?
Me?
Where was it? Let me just answer that.
So that was down in the Inselberg area, far southern boundary between Kenya and Tanzania. I don't know which. So not one of the ones, not the happy zebra. No. So not that area. So in the last few weeks, I've been concentrating most of my drives along the border, the Inselbergs, which are those quite famous kind of outcrops. In there, we've been watching a group of male lions that have become very, very kind of set in that area. And that's the area where there's a huge group of buffalo. And that's the hyenas there have been trailing those buffalo and have been kind of picking the little ones off as they kind of fall behind.
It's incredible to watch those hyenas hunt buffalo. I mean, it was one of the most amazing things, I think, from my time in the Mara. I think it was a 4.5 hour hunt before they actually got the baby back and forward. And incredible.
Pretty brutal. I've got some footage that I will never be able to show anyone because it is so horrific. They have a way of killing.
Yeah, I know. I think that the one of the hunts we had, a large portion of it was just removed for.
Yeah.
All I can say is milk explosion. What happened with that? Just as the hyenas got it, it was just milk out of the baby buffalo. It was horrifying.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's not talk about exploding buffalo. Now, of course, I mean, it is such a magnificent part of the world, and I can't wait to get back up to the Mara at some point soon, and hopefully travel will resume, and you can get going. But in the meantime, guys, please go have a look at the greatest Maasai Mara photo competition. So greatestmaasaimara.com, and there you can find all the information. You can bid on those prints and help send some money back into the Mara now while there's no tourists. And of course, if you're going to go on safari, look no further than Ngama, and you can meet Adam in person, and he can give you some photography tips in his studio that he's sitting in right now. And it would be very well worth your time spending some time with Adam if you do happen to be lucky enough to go to Ngama. And we're going to now there's a lot of questions that we're going to. So guys, now is your chance. Ask about the animals, in particular which individuals you want to know about. I can't remember who was asking, but someone was saying, have you seen the Sausage Tree Pride recently?
Okay. So I can almost predict what questions are going to come. There's going to be, where is Scar? Have you seen Scar?
That's coming.
Yeah. The Sausage Tree Pride, are the cubs still alive? Salt Lick Pride. Anyway, so Sausage Tree Pride, basically, for those of you who know the triangle, the road between what is called 50 kilometers, so kind of central triangle, and the ranger outpost called Ingarari, that road was destroyed and was unpassable for probably 2.5 months.
If that rain, I know, you're not getting through there.
So that area was a write-off. The guys were doing foot patrols along the border, but otherwise there was not a single car that could go anywhere near there. So we lost them. We've literally lost the Sausage Tree Pride. I have not had a confirmed sighting of them in 4 months. I have seen in that area a lioness, a very skittish lioness with 4 cubs. The cubs ran away from me. It was clear that they've been born within this lockdown period, so they wouldn't have. That's how they behaved. And so the reality is that pride is a bit unknown at the moment. I'm anticipating it's going to be quite large, but it may have fragmented because there isn't much for them to eat down there at this time of the year. Once the migration arrives, it's heaven for them. But until then, it is a very, very difficult part of the triangle to be a lion because there isn't any resident game, or there's very little resident game. So at the moment, I don't think anyone can accurately say what happened with the Sausage Tree Pride. Hopefully Kinky Tail is still doing well.
There's lots of Kinky Tail questions coming in. And and even when you can drive there, they've got quite a large area of their territory has no roads. Yeah. And is quite rocky, so it's quite difficult terrain. I know, they were my characters. I followed them. I lost them a lot.
So when the triangle was set up, that area was zoned. It was meant to be a kind of a pure wilderness zone with as few roads and as few people entering that area as possible. And so it really is one of those special parts of the triangle that we go when we don't want to see other cars, even during the high season, the peak season. But it's one of those areas that a pride of lions, even if 15 lions could disappear for a month and you would never see them. The other disappearing act, which is the most remarkable, of course, is Scar. There's no lion in Africa that can be found in such a popular, well-traversed area and disappear for months. Scar, there are rumors that he was sighted 2 days ago, but the guy saw 3 male lions, of which he thought one was Scar, but he was far away and they were in a place that he couldn't get to. And I have my doubts because I've been watching this all unfold over the last few months, and there's a new group of 5 male lions that have come in, and they often split up 3 and 2. And I would think he probably saw the 3 bigger Bilashaka males, and from a couple of 100 meters away, of course, they're going to look like Scar, especially when Scar hides his eye.
and I learned that my time in the Mara. Almost every semi-large male lion was Scar.
Would be Scar
around the river.
Yeah. So that whole area between what is called Magoro Crossing, or the Hippo Pools area, and Serena, which used to be Scar's kind of where you would go if you wanted to start your search for Scar, that area has completely been taken by and they arrived with force. They killed 2 hippos in very short succession near the Serena area, that camp there. And then since then, they've managed to take on the Magoro Pride and the Paradise Pride. And they roar every single morning. So it's a real treat for us to go out early in the morning and just park around the main crossing area, and you find them purely because they're just calling. And you've got these males just going for it. So it's a very special time to be here for that transition.
Yeah, I remember seeing them on the other side of the river around the marsh at Governor's when they just arrived. And, I mean, they were impressive as little boys. They must be absolutely spectacular now.
Yeah, so they're reaching their prime. I believe they're just over 6 years old, somewhere around there. They started off with Marsh Pride, then Topi Pride, and so they're working their way south. The battle, the epic battle that we all kind of dream about is, obviously we don't want lions to die, but the face-off is these Bilashaka males, if they move south, and then you've got what I call the Inselberg males. There's 4 of them, and if they move north, you've potentially got 9 big males meeting, and that will be a fight.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people might think Scar and his friends, I think they just ran as far and as fast as they could away from those bilashakas.
Yeah.
And then there was that just as I was leaving the Mara, those 2 males, one with a sort of a very short tail, a stumpy tail.
Yeah.
They're still around?
Yeah, so they came from the Mara North Conservancy, so just north of the Triangle. They were born near the airstrip there. They were not direct brothers. They were about a month apart, but they were in the same pride. And then they both headed south together with a third brother, a guy who they called Serian for a while. And the 3 of them were together, but they tried to move into the marsh. They got hammered around a bit. They then moved across the Triangle. The one died and left the 2 that you're talking about. One is a very good-looking male. He's now called Olalashe, which I believe means brother. And then there's the half-tail one who the guys call Makia, which means tail. I came across the 2. So Makia is always in a bad shape. He really struggles to walk. He struggles to move, but he somehow manages to keep fighting. But on the 13th of May, I came across the 2 Kichwa males. So they're still going, still strong. And these 2 males were within 100 meters of this at that stage, badly injured kind of Makia, one of the short tail. They were 100 meters apart. And the next morning when I went out, I could see the tracks that they had met, and Makia hasn't been seen again.
The hills,
yeah, he's gone. So his brother, who's the very good-looking Olalashe, is still around. A nice male. He's still dominant of the Owino pride, but I don't think there's any chance that Makia is still alive. The fascinating thing, and this is getting quite deep into the line dynamics, but for those of you who know them, you'll enjoy this. That left Olalashe alone as a solo kind of single pride male, which is a difficult space to be in this area. So what we've started seeing one of the Owino young male who was previously kicked out. We started seeing him coming back into his birth pride, teaming up with Olalashe, which means that there's 2 males. But the worry, of course, is that he is related to the lionesses. So if he starts to mate, he's mating with sisters and mothers and all that. But it's interesting.
We saw that happen with old Kipuli and the 2 sausage tree boys. Who were from the previous litter. He was by himself, and he hooked up with them, and they were always those 3 were seen together for quite a long time.
Yeah, so this guy clearly realizes that with the Bilashaka and the Kichwa males, he's got no chance as a single male, and so he's got to do something. What is quite extraordinary is if I look at the lockdown, kind of the 4 months that I've been here, I've seen, because I document all the lions I've seen 29 different male lions in 4 months. Outstanding amount, and for me that's quite a worrying figure. And if you ask me why, the reason is that what happens with these lions is when they reach a certain age, they have to disperse. And the big fear about the Mara, the human population that's surrounding it, is becoming so big that when these males want to disperse, there isn't anywhere for them to go other than into the community lands. And so you get a lot of wildlife kind of lion-human conflict. So what you're seeing is a lot of nomadic kind of young males who are trying to make a living in the middle of the Triangle. And obviously if they see a cub, they kill it, because that's what lions do. And so the cub mortality rate in the Triangle at the moment, I would say, is substantially higher than what it probably should even be, which is already high.
Yeah, that is true. I actually didn't even think about that. And then I know you don't spend, I think, Baba Yo, do you know which lion that is? I'm not sure. I think that might be one from the marsh.
No, he's the sick Bilashaka male. He has not spent any time in the Triangle that I have seen, and I've heard lots of rumors and reports that he must be gone by now. Haven't seen him.
There you go, Benny Sue. No one's quite sure what happened to Baba Yo. And of course, I'm sure North Clan are doing well, as always.
Yeah. But you know who did die was the famous
Waffles.
The main female of the main. Yeah. So So we found a hyena an old hyena with a collar. She was just dead on the road. And I'm sure it was her. It was definitely an old female, collared female, yeah.
Oh dear, poor Waffles. And she did it. She had a good life, from lowest of the low to matriarch, and handed off to her relatives before she ascended on, or even before we left, she had already given up the matriarchy.
I did see
one of her granddaughters.
Off topic, but I did see my first Mara caracal.
Yes, I did see that.
So there have been 4 confirmed sightings in the last 5 years. So it's an animal that we know is there and just doesn't get seen, or people don't hear about it.
I was quite naughty then. I think I saw 3 or 4 times while I was in the Mara.
Really?
Between 1 and 4 in the morning.
Oh, okay. Yes. So under normal human hours, they don't get seen. But maybe they become very, very nocturnal. Yeah.
Yeah. So we saw that, and at that time where the lions and the hyenas were at their least active, that 1 a.m. to sort of 4 a.m. when the lions were flat sleeping and the hyenas weren't doing much. Maybe they're trying to avoid all the other predators.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So guys, Sophia would like to. So, can the male lions do a river? Yes, cross to Tanzania. No, they can do a walk across to Tanzania. They don't have to cross the river. Aha! Now this is what we're waiting for. Now you told me, I have a little bit of a sneak peek here, that you hadn't seen cheetah for quite some time, and you did.
Yeah.
Do you know which cheetah, or because the cheetah dynamics now have probably changed quite a lot since we were up there?
Yeah. Okay. So cheetah are quite interesting. If you speak to Brian Heath, who's the land manager of the Triangle, he'll tell you that back in the 2000s, he would see more cheetah than he would see lion or hyena. So cheetah were completely everywhere. And then slowly but surely, we started to see a reduction in cheetah and increase in lion and hyena numbers. And it's also linked with the length of the grass. Because the Mara Conservancy is so well looked after in terms of removing of any cattle, so there's no cattle impact. The grass is very long. And what that's meaning potentially is that the cheetah are really struggling to den. They don't really den like normal cats do. They kind of just put them in shrubs and leave them for a while they go off. And so what I think is happening is that the grass is so long that so many hyenas, so many lions, and the cheetah numbers are really, really struggling. There has not been a single cheetah cub raised to adulthood in my last 2.5 years in the Mara Triangle. Which, if you look at the numbers, just can't make sense. Luckily, the cheetahs are doing well in the conservancies, but in the Triangle, they're struggling. This morning was it this morning? Yes, this morning was my first cheetah sighting in 4 months. It was a young male, no clue who he is yet. I've sent off the pictures to the various different researchers, but it's obviously a dispersing male who's looking for somewhere to call home, but he's chosen the Bilishakers area, and he's not going to stick around there. No, it's not. I wonder whether we'll see him again.
And then, just guys, because you're up there, everyone's wondering, have you heard of the Musketeers still going strong?
Yeah, no. I mean, obviously, Scar with his 2 other brothers. The 4th one's gone for sure.
Oh, sorry, I meant the Fast Five.
Fast Five, other Musketeers. Okay, so there's 5. Yeah, there's 2 Musketeers. The Fast Five. They are very far from where I am, so I don't get there very often. I've heard they're doing well. The area around Talek, very productive. There is a lot more cattle movement in that area, so cattle do come into the park, especially now with no tourists, so you can imagine the cattle have come in. But cheetahs enjoy that because they enjoy the short grass. And so I haven't seen the Musketeers, the 5 Musketeers in a while, but I know they're doing fine.
Perfect. Liz, Adam's social media is at Adam Bannister. Is that correct?
For Instagram's the best for me, and it's Adam_Bannister_wildlife.
Adam_Bannister_wildlife.
Yeah, and Facebook is just Adam Bannister. Yeah, that's good.
Okay, well, Ad, it's been absolutely wonderful having you on Animal World Live, and I definitely think we're going to have you back to chat about the leopards at Jawai, and the jaguars in the Amazon, and Peru. I know you had some quite scary stuff happen to you in Peru.
Yeah.
I think people would love to hear about that. But yeah, it's been absolutely wonderful having you, and we can't wait to have you again. And guys, again, please go check out thegreatestmasai-mara.com. Go look at Angama Mara, follow all the social medias, do everything. So it'll be really, really great to that. And if you can, go buy a picture from the greatest Maasai Mara photo competition, and support conservation efforts in the Mara. So really, really great. Thanks so much for joining us, Ad.
Thank you, guys. Have a good evening.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Now, everyone, just quickly, of course, the weekend, which
live drives going, so very exciting stuff. And I think, let me just check here quickly. We have one seat left for Tristan's drive tomorrow afternoon. So there is a last minute seat on a live safari with the one and only Tristan Dix tomorrow afternoon. And then we have a Sunday morning safari as well that has 4 seats left. Sunday afternoon is already fully booked. So don't forget to go get on the live safari with us here at Pantanal TV. 1 seat left with Tristan tomorrow afternoon and 4 seats left with me on Sunday morning. And of course, it has been absolutely wonderful, but we are not over yet. We've still got some surprises for you.
And that is wild dog news, but not from La Palala. So quite nice to have a little catch up on the
wild dogs of the Melita pack. So let's go have a look what they've been up to. So we've just found the pack. We found the pack of wild dogs. Incredibly exciting. They're coming back towards the road. We've possibly got our first sighting of wild dogs on Pridelands. They appeared at the Eco Training Camp Dam. Oh, the guys in front of me, you can see it. Hold on, everyone. There we are, there. We're just going to try to stick with one of the dogs.
They're hunting, right?
Yeah. Something like a steamboat. So a bit of movement has been happening here with the Melita pack. 5 males from the Melita pack have left. They formed a new pack now. with a single lone female that was part of the Zandspruit pack. So this is a new pack, but with 5 males from the Melita pack. We're not sure where the females and the remaining Melita individuals are, but they were last seen not far from where I'm sitting right now. And that was, of course, on Pridelands. So very exciting to have some of the Melita dogs on Pridelands. And, of course, big thank you to the Endangered Wildlife Trust and all the hard work they do. So very, very exciting. Hopefully, and that new pack of dogs, that is a Melita / Zandspruit, we'll just call them Melita -1. No, I'm joking. Melita A for now, until we figure out exactly what's going on. There's a lot of movement between the packs, which makes it, we're just going to let things settle a bit before we give them a new name. Now, of course, we're coming towards the end of tonight's Animal World Live, and a thank you all for being here. A big thank you to Len Lenza, the Steenbach family, our patrons, Eco Training. Don't forget to go get your painted dog swag like I'm wearing, and Brian is hard at work. There will be masks coming soon. This is not a buffalo mask or something that someone said. It is just a pink fishing mask. It's what I use when I go fly fishing. So yeah, but there will be painted dog masks coming soon. Of course, you can also get your Endangered Wildlife Trust masks online. Just go to the EWT website. And of course, a very big thank you to all our safari guests who've been coming on the live private virtual safaris with us. And we can't wait to take you on many more adventures in the Greater Kruger National Park on Pridelands. And thanks to Brian for operating camera this evening, Zander for his incredible set design, Charles for making sure everything runs always, and of course Zander for the editing. And so did I say thank you to Zander?
You did twice.
Twice, Zander.
Sure.
You were moving in my iron mate. You got double. And of course, the maestro behind it all, the man who knows what happens in the black magic box, VM. But from all of us here, good night, and we'll see you I'll see you tomorrow afternoon. And no, you'll see Tristan tomorrow afternoon. Those of you who are on the live drive, those on the live drive on Sunday, you will be seeing me. Other than that, we'll see you next Friday for the next edition of Animal World Live. Our expert private guide team has over 40 years combined African bush experience in multiple countries. Isn't that gorgeous? Nice lion silhouette. We're just trying to get some nice ID shots and start figuring out exactly who this pride is. Lots of hyena action. This is absolutely incredible. Lion coming racing in. This is absolutely epic. Who do you think you're moving to? What are you doing? You're a little boy. I'm not scared of you. Yeah. You back up. You back up. The female cheetah got chased by a lion. I know she's coming this way, but it's a really difficult area to drive. So we're going to go for a walk. So the elephants have interrupted their morning hunt. The 5 lionesses have just put this leopard up a tree. We can't see if it's a male or female. With only 10 people per vehicle, we guarantee an intimate, privately guided experience. Painted Dog TV and our expert guiding team can't wait to immerse you in Africa in the world's first exclusive privately guided virtual safari.